So, so I briefly want to talk about, what you guys probably hear in the background. You're probably going to hear the frequency. I originally had the air conditioner on, but I couldn't have the air conditioner. I couldn't have it silent. It's too echoey in here. It's 5 in the morning. I ain't been to bed yet. Um, Now the air conditioner is not on. The smoke is just chilling right here. But so you're gonna hear the frequency in the background, but it's better than hearing a loud ass air conditioner. But I want to talk a bit about just where we came from, where we're going, and where I think we're headed, and just things that are on my mind, right? So I just made a video about polygamy, and it was literally the most awkward I've ever felt during me making a video. I've never felt awkward before making a video. You could tell, I was nervous. You could tell, like, it was just kind of an uncomfortable topic for me to talk about because it was kind of personal. It was the first time I've ever mentioned anything that kind of personal, and yeah, so it had me thinking, it had me thinking about polygamy and why cultures don't practice it, and then I started realizing they do. But cultures don't practice the same thing like me and my girl are doing. Like the thing that me and my girl are doing, it's like she's the one that more insisted on this, right? This was more her thing. Like a lot of times what fails in polygamy is the guys are asking the girls, and realistically the guys are just asking the girls for a threesome. Um, but polygamy, like actual polygamy, like got really huge from religions, mainly Islam and Mormonism. So, but the way the Mormons practiced, because I don't think Mormons do this anymore, but the way the Mormons used to practice polygamy was, I feel like, completely the wrong way. Anytime religion gets in your business on on who you're having sex with, on how to have sex, on how many wives you can have, or how to do this, then that's an issue. Anytime anyone tries to tell you how to live, that's an issue. But if it's what you want to do, it's a different story, right? I think everyone should have the free will to either be with one person, be with two people, be with 100 people. It doesn't matter, right? I feel like you should have the free will to be able to choose. Our society looks kind of down upon polygamy because of organizations like the Mormons, the way they do it, or the way they do it, in the Middle East, how it's like, one dude will have like 5 wives, but like he kind of treats them all like shit, right? Like it's the issue with the history of polygamy a lot of times is it's like, I mean, you can, like, in situations like that, it's kind of like the women are kind of forced into it. Uh, it's not like you never hear about a woman having 5 husbands, right? Um, because I think it's only for the men are allowed to have 4 wives or whatever. But it's like, so in my situation, I don't have to deal with that either. Now, this isn't saying that it's good or bad. It's just for my situation, my girl, she's into girls, and she's been realistically trying to find a way to express that and do that, even though she's in a relationship with me. And she doesn't want to leave me, and she's bisexual. She likes dudes and she likes girls, but it's like she's with a dude, but she still has that other side of herself that likes girls. So it's kind of like, we're able to do our thing, and I'm able to allow her to do her thing and for her to be herself, and and she wants to do it together, so that's awesome. See, this is exactly what I wanted to say in the fucking first video I made about polygamy, but I was too damn nervous and weirded out to make it. But it's like, now at 5 in the morning, frequency playing, high as shit. Of course, now it's easier to talk about it. It's like the research I've done, if you go far back enough, humans were kind of in this orgiastic society anyways, right? Like, if you go far back enough, it's like the whole tribe was kind of raising each other. Like Native Americans a lot of times practice polygamy. uh, a lot of old cultures, practice polygamy. The main reason it's an issue is because you don't know whose kid is which. And if you're in a little town, that's an issue because you don't want to be fucking your cousin, right? So this is like, so our societies end up, practicing, I'm pretty sure it's called polygamy, just man, wife, and then children, and then so forth and so on, right? Um, and now our society, over time has accepted gay marriage, has accepted, you know, um, transsexual rights, transgender rights. It's like these things have sexuality in general has become more of an open topic. So obviously polygamy would come back into that topic. Um, I think a lot of men, like I said in my first video, I think a lot of men are just looking for threesomes. They're not really looking for polygamy. And I think that polygamous relationships can be many ways. Like what me and my girl are doing, it's like, in a way, my girl has a girlfriend, but in a way, I guess it's kind of like we have a girlfriend, right? But it's like, it's just a little different than that because next week it could just be me and my girl again, and that's fine, right? It's like there's other polygamous relationships where it's like the man, like in this situation, it's almost like my girl is the one in charge of the relationship. Like we're in a relationship with her. In a way, it's hard to explain. And most of the times in old-fashioned polygamous relationships, it's that the women were in the relationship with the man, right? It's not that the man and the women were in the relationship with each other. Because a lot of old polygamists, like the Mormons, right? The women aren't even with each other. It's weird, right? It's like literally the man has 4 wives, and these wives are more like sisters with each other. That's what they call them, sister wives. And, because they're more like sisters with each other, they're not, having sex with each other. They're just like sisters, right? And it's like then, and the Mormon thing is they switch off every night. So if the dude has 5 wives, maybe he'll switch off like every night. He'll just rotate. One night he'll sleep with sleep with one. The next time he'll sleep with the other. Next time, so forth and so on, right? And I think what's interesting is the polygamy that's happening now, right? There's these weird trends that are going on in the world, right? And it's really weird because I'll just be observing the world. So it's like first it's like becoming woke became a trend. Now it's almost like polygamy is becoming a trend in a way. Like I've seen it on Facebook, seen different memes here and there. I've seen a bunch of people ask. Like I've literally seen a bunch of people ask the question, put this Facebook meme up like, is polygamy okay? Polygamy, yes or no? Like it's all about everyone's like now talking about it, right? And it's like, I don't know. It just so happened to happen in my life. It just happened. But it's not about what I've noticed is it's just that is the reason why there's a bad name for it is because of the old fashioned, like the women aren't even sleeping with each other, right? Also probably because religions demonized being gay. They demonized lesbians, they demonized gay men, they demonized lesbian women. So it's like, obviously, if a man could have 4 wives, obviously if being gay is a sin or if being lesbian is a sin, then obviously those women aren't going to sleep with each other. Which, in my personal, opinion, I think that the only way it works is if you do whatever works for you. Because the type of thing that you see someone else do is not what would work for you. Like, my girl really likes girls. She also likes men, but she doesn't want to have anything like that with a man. She just wants to have me as the man and, someone else as the girl, and she's, my woman, right? And it's like, but I think that humans, right? Now, to be completely honest, this is so honest, it's insane. I guess the whole thing is so fucking honest, it's insane, so it doesn't matter. um, but to be completely honest, if she asked me to do this with a dude, I would honestly say no. I know this sounds like a double standard. I know it sounds like whatever, but I have no interest in men. I'm not gay. I have nothing wrong with people who are gay, but I like women. So because I like women, that wouldn't be the same, right? Because my girl likes women and men. So it's different for her. If she was to ask me to do this with a man, I don't like men, so I couldn't do anything with the man. It would turn me off. It wouldn't, like with her, it turns her on. With me, it would not, because like you get what I'm saying. So there's also with that situation, then if you were straight and you were not gay, you wouldn't like have a threesome necessarily. The woman would sleep with the man on her own, go do her thing, and then maybe come stay with you the other night, or so forth and so on. More like the Mormon type of polygamy. Um, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, I know that, like, I've done a lot of psychedelic experiences, very spiritually, ayahuasca, DMT, psilocybin mushrooms, LSD, like candy flipped once, and I've done many different plants shamanically. And let me tell you, like, all this talk about killing your ego, you cannot kill your ego. It's impossible. Let me tell you. And killing your ego is stupid. Why would you want to? You don't want to kill the ego. You want to tame the ego. You want to put the ego on a leash and use the ego to help the consciousness, right? You want to use the shadow to help the light. And what I've noticed is I think men are too ego to be able to handle a polygamy relationship where the woman is doing this with the man, unless he is bisexual. The only way it will work is if the man is bisexual. Now, I could be wrong. There could be some guy out there, whatever, but what I'm saying is you can't have a completely connected sexual relationship, a mental relationship, and a spiritual relationship. You can't have all of that with so if there's three people, you cannot have all of that with the triangle unless all three people are doing things together, right? And that's why I feel like when it comes to like polygamy, where it's like maybe the woman wants another man, but the man is not bisexual, I feel like that comes to like either that man's gonna have to accept what's about to happen, and yes, it does punch your ego in the face, and yes, it does, like it is a nice ego check. I can imagine. I've never had it happen, but I can imagine, right? But it's like I also think that men are too something that I can't explain. And I think that does more than just damage the ego. I think it also damages the consciousness a little bit. I think for men, it's a little different. We have different biology in our bodies. We have different, ways, different things that make us a man, right? So it's almost like, and I know a lot of people would be like, oh, whatever, right? But it's almost like having your manlyhood taken from you a little bit. I don't know how to fucking explain it, but I'm just grateful and thankful that I don't have to experience that, but neither does anyone, really. Like, if you're a man in that situation, or if you're a woman in that situation, you shouldn't force your man to go through that. You should probably leave him. and go find a man that's bi. You should, like, we should be able to do whatever we want to do, but we shouldn't have to force someone to do something they don't want to do truly inside. Because, I mean, maybe there's some straight men out there that don't mind that situation, but the majority of most straight men would not want that situation, wouldn't want their woman to go off with another man, whatever, because they're not doing it together. And all that's going to do is separate those two, make them more distant from each other. You want this thing to bring everyone together, or at least that's I only speak from experience. The only reason I've never made a video about polygamy is because I've never done it before until recently, right? So it's like, now that this is life to me, I'm just expressing what's happening and how I'm just observing. I can observe how this can go, right? And this can go many different ways. We could just do this for a little while and stop and no longer do this. We can I don't know, get in an actual polygamy relationship. We can put no label or name on it and just do, right? And just experience life. And that's kind of what we're doing. But like, I think that it works better when there's, like, if there's two girls and one guy, I feel like it works better. Like, and this isn't, I'm not talking about a threesome, I'm talking about polygamy, right? I'm talking about connection. I'm talking about some deep shit, not just like I bagged two chicks. No, it's nothing like that. This is like, this is what I mean. The only way that this works like this is if all three are getting connected together and coming together to create a perfect triangle, right? If two are going off, maybe one night, and then another two are going off another night, and another two are going off another night. Like, if that happens, I feel like it could still work, but it's not going to be that perfect connected triangle. I don't know how to explain it, but it's just not going to be magical, because that's the word. Like, it reminded me of a psychedelic experience. It was because that's what psychedelics, I feel like, do. They have a magical aspect to them, right? There's something about them that's magical, and like, they're probably where the word magic was invented from, right? Like, where the guy first came up with the idea of, oh my god, magic. But like, I definitely think that there's some magic to it when you get it right. But if you don't have it right, if you don't have the chemistry all right, you can have a bad chemistry project. You know what I mean, right? It could go wrong, right? This is why I think polygamy, you're also taking a risk. If you've done polygamy your whole entire life and you've only whatever, and you take a risk of doing polygamy, you could completely shatter your relationship. You could literally ruin everything you've had in your relationship. And I realized that we were taking that risk, but we were like, fuck it, why not? Whatever, we're just living life. And that's what she wanted. We've been talking about it for like a year now, so it's like, that's what I mean. Like, you should talk about it with your partner for like at least 6 months to a year. You should really think about who you're gonna do this with, and they should be someone you're connected to. And don't listen to me. Like, also, I'm just saying what's working for me, but I'm just saying that I've done some research, I've observed other people that have been in a polygamous relationship, and I can see that because men are men, and there's something about men that will never change, and there's something about women that will never change. And one of the things about about men that probably will never change is yeah, we're gonna have a little more ego than women, because men, I don't know how to explain it, but this is part of being a human male. Part of being a human male is you have that ego a little bit, and it's okay to have a little ego. It's okay to say, that's my wife. And I'd rather not have, a man, whatever, especially if you're straight. If you're gay, you're not gonna think like that. That's what I'm trying to explain here. Anyone who's gay or bisexual or bi-curious, they're all gonna think no. They're gonna say that no, it's okay for the woman to whatever because they understand because they're probably thinking they would do something with the man too. But someone who's straight, they're not going to be okay with that, right? And if they say they're okay with that, all they're doing is biting their tongue and lying. And that's what I mean. Like, you can say you're okay with it because you want to be a good man. You want to, do this thing. You want to make your woman happy. You want to whatever. You want to make the relationship work. You want to try something new. You want to whatever. But you're lying. You genuinely, honestly, you probably want to say no. But you don't want to risk the relationship. You don't want it to be a double standard. You don't want it to look a certain way. You don't want it to whatever. And I'm just glad I don't have to go through that, right? Because my girl has no interest in other guys. She's definitely interested in other women, but that's her thing, right? And you need to find what works for you in your relationship. If you guys aren't connected on a mental, spiritual, emotional level, then you're gonna ruin your relationship if you try to add sex in with another person, with another partner, right? You're gonna completely ruin it because you have to have an extremely, extremely strong bond. If you don't have an extremely strong bond, you will just break the little bond that you have. That's all. Because if somebody interferes with the little bond that you have, if the bond is very weak, then the bond will only get weaker. Because when someone else gets in your life or your partner's life, they're going to draw some attention as well to their mind. Their mind is going to go towards them a little bit. So if it's going towards them a little bit, it's going a little bit away from you. And that's why I said, like, when it's a perfect triangle, when everybody is caring about everyone in the relationship, where all partners can equally care about each other on the same aspects, spiritually, emotionally, sexually, and, just all aspects, right? Then I feel like it's like a perfect triangle and it works. Now, this can be with, I'm saying a perfect triangle from personal experience, but this can be with, 3 people, 4 people, 6 people, 10 people, it doesn't matter, right? It's just if everyone loves each other, and it doesn't have to be the word love, right? It just has to be a strong care for each other, a strong, and I guess it is love though, realistically. It's just not in love. It's you have love for these people and you're being connected in a way that is spiritual and emotional and it's just deep, right? And I feel like it's only deep when it's a connection. But this has been my video.